So if you can just start by telling me your name, your first and last name, and then kind of what your title is.
So my name is Don Dirk-Angelo Mcdonald. I'm currently a senior that's about to graduate in May, and with ambitions of going to law school and then changing the world.
Why do you say that, changing the world? What do you mean?
So that's a great question. I realized, and I went through stage 4 cancer, germ cell cancer, where when I was going through these chemotherapy processes and sitting in this hospital bed for months at a time, I realized that there's so much positive change that can happen in the world that all it takes is one person to change it. So I think that there's a lot of different things, whether it's education systems, whether it's with healthcare, whether it's with business practices, whether it's with government, that can use those positive reinforcements in laws and people to impact the world that does need a lot of changing, because all it takes is a compounding effort where 2 turns into 4, turns to 16, turns into 200, turns into 65,000. Like, all it does is take proper base hits and proper compounding measures to get to that positive change. And unfortunately, I had to go through cancer twice to realize that this world is very imperfect, and that we together can make that change.
Why do you say that the world is imperfect?
That's a great question. I'm a very spiritual person where I believe that the world is imperfect because this is not, this is a world that is ruled by the devil. I believe that there's a lot of sin that people choose to do, whether it's myself too, where we as humans are given free will to decide to keep our eyes on the Lord or do what our flesh tells us to do. And so I think that the world is very imperfect because there's a lot of entities controlling it that aren't focused around worshiping God and Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, and again, that's what grounds me at the end of the day is Jesus Christ, our Lord, knowing that He loves us and died for us, and His Son to live on this earth to teach us how to live. Where when we ignore the teachings of how to live properly, of course you have the teachings of the Torah and ancient civilizations and ancient laws of how to live, but my belief is that Jesus Christ is the new law that we should follow, and then when we don't avert our eyes towards Jesus and try to create our own law, become our own gods, then that's when I think trial follows.
I really like what you said there, but going back to, and we will get back to the conversation about faith. Going back to when you were first diagnosed with cancer, finding it out. I mean, what was your initial reaction to hearing that news?
So I was originally diagnosed with testicular cancer with pain in my groin area after returning from Europe, where I went for the first time. But I was experiencing pain for 2 weeks before, and I ended up going to doctor's visits, and they said that, hey, you have a tumor growing on one of your testicles. And so that was really scary because it brought to the realization that how fragile we as humans are. So thankfully we had that removed where I'm very good now. But then months later when I returned to school in October, I had pain in my back where I ended up coughing up blood before a case competition tournament where I was about to be flown to St. Louis to compete. But I had this pain in my back, was coughing up blood. And the day before I was about to fly out, my dad said, hey, Don, go to the ER. So I ended up going to the ER where after CT scans, x-rays, they said that I had stage 4 germ cell cancer that had spread to my lungs, my IVC vein, and my lymph nodes. And what stage 4 means is that it spread. So that was really scary of, wow, I could die. And so death was something that I lived with for the next 3 months while I was going through chemotherapy of, hey, you know what, I might not get out of this. There's a percentage that's created that shows death, which was very scary for me. And so when I got cancer, it was one of those portions of I had to step back of where I was and start from a ground zero of how do I survive? Every day was survival. And but yeah, getting cancer was a step of, hey, you know what, I have to, the past no longer matters. Now all that matters is today and surviving.
And when you were going through chemotherapy and all the cancer treatments, I mean, what were the highs and the lows of that?
So The highs were definitely my family and community. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I created a TikTok page where I announced my diagnosis. And so from there, people from my elementary school, people from University of Tennessee, people from Miami, people's parents, this large community across the entire country and world reached out to me and making sure that I was doing well. So that was the high of just knowing that there's people out there that really care about you. And so that was amazing. Every chemo session, I had my mom, my father around me, take me to doctor's visits. I had my sisters around me that their love meant the world to me. And my Tennessee community, my Miami community, where I'm from, meant the world. But then the lows, there were a lot of lows. Like I said, I was diagnosed in the middle of my senior year where I missed time with those that I loved. I missed football games. I missed parties. I missed friends' graduations. I missed a lot. I missed school. I had learned to love my classes, my teachers, what I was learning, and that was all taken away from me, which was very hard. Where of course I got to do it from home, but like a part of my heart was ripped out, left here, which was really painful. And then there were days when I would go through chemotherapy sessions through Christmas, through New Year. So on Christmas, we had Christmas the 26th, I would have chemo the 27th. We would have New Year's the 1st, I would have chemo the 2nd, and a lot of the time enjoying was lost of, instead of enjoying it with family, it was, hey, I have chemo tomorrow. And another portion is my diet changed where I wasn't able to enjoy food, where we hired a nutritionist that said, hey, stay away from white breads, pastas, stick to strictly protein of salmon, vegetables, but a lot was lost during that time period, and there were times when I felt very low, but was lifted up with my family, community, and faith, most importantly.
Yeah, I like what you said at the end there, and I was going to ask you, I mean, a lot of people, especially after getting a separate cancer diagnosis the second time, a lot of people lose faith after that, or hope. I mean, what kept you going?
What kept me going was my faith, genuinely. The world around you can fall, but relationships, school, even family at times can tremble, but the Lord never fails. And so that, knowing that I had that pillar to stand on meant the world to me, where I became very impacted by the scriptures of the Old Testament, the New Testament, the prophecies that led to Jesus. And so my church was amazing in helping stand solidified in my faith and never faltering, but getting cancer twice was very difficult. Getting cancer twice was really difficult, but I know that tomorrow's never promised, and I could get it a third time in a different area, and whether it's my brain, my blood, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I do know that the Lord will be with me tomorrow as I go through the trials and the joys of the life we're living.
Yeah, you actually said in an article, I found this quote, you said, even when my body feels like it's failing, it's the Lord that heals.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
So there were days when, so if you look at my skin, there's days when I would scratch, and due to the chemotherapy, the scars would remain forever. And so that's like my body failing to heal. There were days when I would shower and pull out large segments of hair, and then I would have decided to shave it, but there were days when I'm like, wow, my hair isn't growing. Like, there were days when all I felt was throwing up, and so even though my body was failing, my legs couldn't walk at times, my port area hurt, my hair was falling, my skin wasn't healing, the Lord wasn't failing to heal my soul, which was very powerful. Like, the Lord anchored me in everything, and knowing that whatever I was going through at that time, and even now, has a reason. And so Tim Tebow said it really well, where every setback is a set up for something greater. And I kept saying that to myself, where, hey, this setback, whether it's my hair, my skin, is a set up for something that at that time I didn't know what was. But now I know that it allows me to tell my story, especially in amazing opportunities like these.
Yeah, and there are people who when they go through suffering, they're like, why, God? Why did you do this to me? Was there ever a moment like that for you?
Yeah. Oh, every day. Every day I would ask, like, why? Like, why did you put this on me? Yeah, there were days when I would, like, beg the Lord, like, why did you do this to me? Yeah, I did.
What were your emotions through that time?
It was confusion. It was confusion as to why did you give me, a 21 healthy-year-old guy, this disease that wants to kill me. And so I'm reading this book now actually called Even If by Mitchell Lee, that it's this even if faith that Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego have of like, hey, even if this happens, I'll believe. And so I believe when I was asking those questions, the Lord was wanting me to trust even if all failed. And so, yeah, there were days when I would ask, like, why me? But that's not for me to know. There's some things that I can justify, and then there's things that I just can never know.
Why do you say that?
Because we have a God of the universe that created us and created this world, and he reveals things in its own time, whether it's today, tomorrow, in the past, but he reveals it to us, but we don't get to choose when he does. Yeah, we don't get to choose when he does. But yeah, the days when I asked, like, why me, I think it was just like a proclamation of like, Lord, use me. But yeah, there's things, but he reveals everything to us that we ask for.
What do you mean by that?
I think in Matthew it says, if you ask, you shall be provided, where it's that asking portion of, hey, what do I want? And not only to the Lord, but to the world, to people that we talk to of, hey, I need this help. Even medical institutions, hey, I need this help. You'll get it. Whether it's immediately or with time, you just have to ask for it. And so what I realized is asking the Lord for health, and he'll give it to me, or asking the Lord for companionship, and he'll give it to you. Like asking and you'll receive is something that I believe in, but we don't get to choose when we receive it, because that's creating our own story narrative, which we can try to do, but you can't predict cancer. You really can't. And I thought I would graduate healthy, and I am, but I didn't write the story of cancer, where the Lord works in unexplainable ways. But what I realize now is it gives me an opportunity to tell my story to those that may be dealing with the same questions that I had. Talk to those people that are recently diagnosed, or talking to people that had it for 20 plus years, and showing them that we have to have unwavering faith in health and the Lord, because he provides that, and that health is possible for anyone.
If you didn't have your faith or your family or friends during this whole process, how do you think that would have impacted your healing journey?
That's a great question. If I didn't have any of my faith, family, friends, there would have been a lot of isolation, which is not good. Isolating yourself can be very bad. So if I would have been forced into that isolation with no family, friends, faith, I would have tried everything to survive, because those are the pillars that lift you up. And finding pillars that bring health, that bring community, that bring joy, love, are very important, because your body listens to your mind. And when you're surrounded by love, your body will reciprocate love towards you. And so whatever you tell yourself, like, hey, I'm healthy, your body will believe. And so putting yourself, if you're not in those communities already, into ones that are positive is very important. That allows you to show and experience love fully, because your body listens to you, especially when you're going through cancer, where the drug itself of chemotherapy is killing you. But where if you can talk to yourself and really stay grounded in love, then that's very important to do and to continue.
How has this whole situation impacted your outlook on life?
It's impacted it a lot. I've become a dreamer now. I've become a dreamer. I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish in life. I have a giant bucket list of easily 100 different things that I want to achieve from tomorrow all the way until death. So I've become a dreamer, and realizing that I can go from point A to point B. If hypothetically I can go through this and become healthy, which is what I wanted, then I can go from my health, my point of healthiness, to accomplishing my dreams. And so I've become a dreamer now and living every day fully. I had mentioned it previously with you on our side conversation, but our most valuable asset that we have are our time, energy, and memory. Because you could have time and energy, but if you don't have memory too, then that's another conversation that can be difficult. But our main assets are time, energy, and memory. So if we have all three of those are like what push us along to our goals. And so, yeah, I've become a dreamer now and a doer, where of course you can dream, but whatever I think, I do. Hence the hair. But yeah, it's very important for your mind to match with your body at all times.
And you seem like you're someone who's very big on helping people. I mean, you told me that you want to help as many people as you can, and that's one of your goals. How important do you think that is for people to do?
I think it's very important. If 8.5 billion people in the world believed that they could change the world would change overnight. And so it's just that belief that whatever we do today, whether it's homework, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's the day-to-day chores, if we believe that we can change the world through those actions, then it will happen. So, like I said, I want to change the world in a drastic way, and if me changing the world is telling people that they can, then that's what I'm going to continue doing.
When you look back at the lowest lows that you had during your whole journey, if you could tell yourself something now, or back then, knowing like what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
I would say keep dreaming. To always follow, keep dreaming. To always follow them. To always follow your dreams. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I say that because there were days when I lost my dream. There were days when, again, I thought I wouldn't be alive. So when you lose that hope of life, you lose your dreams. So at times the dreams will carry you on into life, even if all the odds are against you. So to continue following your dreams always, because I had mentioned it previously too, but The Alchemist talks about the book The Alchemist talks about when you really want something, all of the world conspires in helping you to achieve it. And so those dreams come from true want and desire. And so when you chase those dreams, that gives you hope. And so you always have to follow the hope, follow the dreams to let the world work in your favor. Working the law of favorability. It's like when you play cards for the first time and you're winning, it's like, wow, this is great. And it's called the law of favorability. We're all on the first game of life. We're all playing the law of favorability. And if we play and continue playing and following our dream of winning, the world will reward us. And so I would say that to never lose the dream, if I had to talk to myself back in the day, never lose your dream, always continue reading. I was reading a lot during that time. Continue reading and surround yourself with good people because the world will try to kill you.
And I know you're graduating in a week, right?
Less than a week.
Yeah, that's exciting news
yes.
too. And when you think about the legacy you want to leave behind, like the one thing that you want to be remembered for, what comes to mind?
I would say the one legacy that I want to leave behind is, here, I have to think this through. So I would say the one legacy that I want to leave behind is that you can make an impact in anything that you do. So my freshman year, I had joined Fiji, Phi Gamma Delta, and I ended up becoming the new member of the year, and I was pledge class president, and I joined all these societies associated with Greek life, and I really made a positive impact there. Then my sophomore year, I integrated to the Haslam College of Business School and really wanted to make an impact there, where I founded the first association, or the first Hispanic club in Tennessee history, University of Tennessee history, the first Hispanic business club. Then I joined student government, and I really tried to make an impact in becoming a senator, where I was an at-large senator and then a special interest senator. And then I ended up joining the case competition team and winning national competitions, where we just won IBESC in Los Angeles. So whatever you decide to do, you can make ripples in. But it just involves getting into the water, trying out different opportunities. But anything that you do at any time in point, you can make an impact in. You just have to do it.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Did you think that you were going to be walking across the stage a couple months ago, maybe?
No.
Why do you say that?
So I was diagnosed in October and then diagnosed as cancer-free in January. But in January, I was very weak. I was really weak. And my parents were like, hey, Don, you don't have to go back to school. You could take the semester off, graduate in winter. But what was pushing me, and this thought in the back of my head was, I don't have tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's not promised. I can't waste days. I can't waste minutes. I can't waste seconds. I have to continue following my dream of changing the world. And I kept feeling this urge of going back to school. I have to do it. So I was diagnosed cancer-free January 15th, went back to school that next week, started school, which was crazy. So I did not think that I would be graduating in May, less than a week from now, in January. But you can't predict it. You can't predict tomorrow. And but I'm very blessed and feeling very blessed.
What does that feel like, having that goal accomplished?
It feels like a weight lifted off my shoulder. Graduating is really exciting because I've lived a lot of different lives in Tennessee these past 4 years, and I feel like I've gotten everything and more that I could have gotten out of it, whether it's with making an impact with the university, attending football games, meeting family, like what I call family, and really becoming a volunteer. It's invaluable. So I would say that I am very blessed to have gone to school here, and then the school gave me an opportunity to grow.
And finally, what would you tell someone going through maybe a hardship like you went through this year?
I would say like, what I would tell someone going through a hardship is, I'm here for you. Like, if you think the world is against you, I want to be here for you. So if you ever need someone to talk to, reach out to, please get my contacts. I'll drop everything to let you know that you matter immensely. And so that's what I would tell someone going through something, whether it's cancer, whether it's something related to their job, whether it's mental struggles. I want people to know that not only myself, but there's thousands and millions of people out there that are there for you, and that whatever you're going through, you never have to go through it alone. We're not supposed to live life alone. And so I would let someone know that I'm there for them. There's communities that are there for you to help you battle whatever you're going through so that you come back and come out of it much stronger.